Hi, my name is Al Getler, and welcome back to another episode of Leader Be Led, where we try to bring you the best in leadership. Leaders of people, leaders in the marketplace, leaders in social media, leaders in technology, and leaders of all things Disney. I'm not going to waste any time on our introduction today because the guest that we have just has so much to offer. I want to bring him right on screen and welcome back my guest. His name is Lee Cockerell, and Lee is the guy that used to run Disney World. And to me, that's just amazing. So let's have Lee come back on the show. Hey, Lee.
Hi, Al.
Welcome
nice
back. Yeah,
Thank you.
Good to see you. I mean, Lee, I got to tell you, it's like having, the biggest rock star, the Elvis, if you will, of all things customer service, but all things Disney. And I am a huge fact. In fact, I've got my Mickey watch on a little backwards or upside down there, but I didn't even wear that in your honor. I wear that every day. I'm a big fan of what Disney does. The Disney magic is something that people can try to bottle and recreate, but unless you're willing to invest as much as Disney has invested in it, is hard to replicate. Why does Disney invest so much in that experience, Lee?
Well, I think if you want to be a world-class experience, you got to invest on every level, not only capital to make sure you got the right attractions and shows and properties and hotels and parks, but also the investment in the people that actually deliver this magic every single day. The 65,000 cast members that work at Walt Disney World. So it is a big investment, but it's also something that the market really wants. People want to get out of their environment. They want to come to a place that's special. They want to be a family together. Even the troops, before they were deployed, would come to Disney World together as a family. And often the first place they came back together as a family when their husband or wife returned from Iraq or from Afghanistan. So it's a pretty special place.
It absolutely is, and like my first visit, beforehand you may complain a little bit about the money that you spend to get there, but once you're there and once you leave, you realize it's worth every nickel because if you go away unhappy from Disney World, I have to say that there's probably something wrong with you because the Disney company really does make it a magical experience. Well, Lee, you have written 2 books, and I want to put your first book up on the screen first and just kind of frame that out for people. The first book is called Creating Magic, and in that book you talk to us about what it is to have that experience penetrate not only the Disney environment, but your own company's environment. So can you just give us a very quick synopsis of that book before we start talking about your new book?
Well, that first book, Creating Magic, is really designed around helping people understand how to be better leaders, how to be better at creating the right culture and environment in their organization, so they can get maximum results. Even the first strategy in that book is titled, Remember, Everyone is Important. Mm-hmm. And it's really to make sure. That's why everybody at Disney, from the people that clean the bathrooms to make your bed, they're proud of where they work. And that's why they deliver such great service. There doesn't have to be a manager around supervising them for them to do their job. And so this is what a strategy is about, of not only the kinds of things that leaders should be thinking about doing, but also how they should be treating their people and how they should create this culture where everybody wakes up in the morning and wants to come to work versus have to come for the paycheck. And there's a big difference in those two things. And that's what this book helps you understand. In fact, a lot of colleges and universities are now using this book in there for their students to give them a taste of what real leadership is.
Creating magic. You can't own a business, run a business, lead a business, expect magic to happen if you're basically a miserable SOB. I mean,
Right. Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
I mean, so to me, it's kind of like, it's a little drop of inspiration just to kind of create magic by really making your company a place that people want to show up to every day. On top of that, though, Disney spends a lot of time explaining the vision that Walt Disney had and explaining how the company has grown from there. And it's truly it's a great place to visit and study the customer experience. Well, you've written a new book, Lee, and you've really given us a set of rules to follow. And I'd like to show the cover of your newest book on the screen here right now and urge folks to go out and buy it. It's a book that really boils down the rules that one needs to follow for customers. So instead of me trying to give that synopsis, Lee, if you would just give us an outline, and then we're going to dig a lot deeper into some of the customer rules.
Well, there's a lot of basics in these rules, and there are things that probably your mother taught you and you forgot. And most business people forget the basics in life. And when I was writing this book, I asked my little granddaughter, who was 12 at the time, she's 15 now, I said, Margot, what do you think is the most important rule in customer service? She looked at me without 1 second delay and said, well, Pappy, the first rule is be nice. You know? And and then I turned to my grandson who was 10. I said, Tristan, you want to be in my book? And he said, yes, Pappy. I said, you better give me a good quote. And he ended up getting a whole chapter. I said, what does service mean to you, Tristan? He said, well, again, the kids. Without 1 second delay, he turned to me and said, Pappy, when you serve, you're always the giving one. And who are the giving?
Say it again. When he served what? I'm sorry?
He said, when you serve, you're always the giving one.
Ah.
And you know who are the giving ones that we can relate to? Our military, nurses, first responders, teachers. These are the real giving ones. But we can all be giving ones.
Yeah.
We can be nicer. Yeah. We can serve people. We can take care of them. We can control our emotion when they're misbehaving and give them a good experience. And so even the first rule in this book is, remember, customer service is not a department. It's a responsibility of every single person in the organization to take care of the customer and take care of each other. And then you'll have that culture, and then it'll happen, and people will notice, and they will come back, and they won't even think about going to your competitor, even if you charge more.
Why is that so hard for so many businesses to get? I mean, we have all had this experience where we walk into a place of business. I won't label any one variety of business, but you get the impression immediately that the employee could care less whether you're standing in front of them or not. I mean, what do you think the core of the issue is with why we just can't get? And I'll stick to our country right now. The United States. Why can't we get the average American worker to see the importance of that?
I think their mother's messed up. I think a lot of people get focused on the wrong things in business, and they get so focused on the bottom line and productivity that they forget you can do both.
Right.
And in fact, you have to be productive, and you have to make money, and you have to watch your costs, but you can also, it costs nothing to be nice. It costs nothing to continually, every single day, looking for a better way, whether it's the dry cleaners, the grocery store, the gas station. These are things that really don't cost much. And if you get the employees really feeling good about themselves and feeling like they matter, and you're taking care of them and you're respectful, they'll do the job for you.
Yeah.
And you don't have to pay them a penny more to be nice.
And I think it's regardless. I know you're saying it in jest, but it's regardless of the family upbringing. I've had some employees, some team members that have worked with me that haven't had the greatest of backgrounds. But when you give them something to follow, when you give them something to see and be a part of, and have an objective to reach for, something to strive for, people tend to respond, don't they?
Well, I think we all want purpose, when we go to work, not just a job. Because if even the guys who cook the French fries at Disney, if I tell them their purpose in life is cooking French fries, they're not going to stay too enthusiastic. But when I tell them their purpose is to make sure that they remember we're all here to make sure every guest who comes to Disney World has the most fabulous time of their life, they may not see the guests, but they'll cook those French fries better, salt them, keep them hot. They know everything we do at Disney ends up affecting the guest. Even the engineer that doesn't fix the air conditioner in December affects some girl's wedding in August.
Yeah.
So you got to put that connection. People have to have purpose. They have to know what they do matters.
Yeah.
And it's important.
Well, I think that's absolutely true, and I think also too that as you've portrayed, that it comes from the top, it comes from leadership, and it spreads too. I do know, there was an experience that I had when I was going to Disney World, but I didn't stay at a Disney property. I actually stayed at one of your previous companies at the Marriott, not far outside of Disney World, and
World Center.
Yeah, and I booked a room very high up, facing the parks, so that we could see the fireworks displays every night. But when we got there, they put us on the fourth floor, facing the pool.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and and being who I am, I did complain about it to the front desk, and I was assured that they'd love to help me out, but that the rooms were sold out. There was a huge conference that we were there for. The thing, and long story is that the second night, I actually talked to the general manager of the hotel, and he assured me that it wasn't just a line, that they were indeed sold out, and that the guests who were in those rooms weren't going to be checking out anytime during our stay. But the very cool part was we went to the Disney parks that day, and when we came home that night, sitting on the bed was a tray of cookies and milk for my kids. It probably cost the hotel, I mean, you're in the hospitality business, Lee, certainly under $5,
At least $1.
Yeah, at least $1, right? But it wasn't even Disney magic. It was just kind of a nice gesture on this general manager's part. Again, those little things are things that make a difference. And as you state, customer service isn't a department; it's a way of life. So let's look at some of your other rules. What are some of the other rules in the books that we have to keep in mind about the
And
customer?
by the way, what you just said, the reason that happened is that starts with Bill Marriott. He's an incredible person. He cares. And that general manager knows it. They respect him. He knows what's going on. He treats people respectfully, and it flows all the way down. Even one chapter in the book, it says, remember, customer service follows the law of gravity. It starts at the top and flows down. And so it's a good thing to remember.
Well, and that happened in 1997, and I'm still telling the story. So
there you are.
Yeah,
there you are.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
so
let's get to the next rule here. One of the things you say is that great service follows the law of gravity, which you just mentioned. But what does that really mean? I mean, that sounds a little bit lofty. I'm not sure I quite understand it. What do you mean it follows the law of gravity?
Well, I think we see that in Disney. Everybody's so focused and fanatical about good service, it flows all the way down. We're all expected to deliver. It happened at Apple. It happens at Amazon. It happens. You always have somebody at the top that is driving that attention to detail and excellence and never happy, and the customer wins in those situations. And I always tell people, if you go to a restaurant and have a bad meal, it's not the waiter's fault. If you get bad service, it's not the waiter's fault. It's the manager. The manager is the most important. The general manager is the most important person in any facility. The most important.
Yeah.
And they drive the quality. They drive the attention to detail. They drive it. And those places that have good general managers make more money.
So in the Disney environment, Lee, when I'm in the park and I go to a different restaurant, is that part of a big operation, or is there a manager that has responsibility for each restaurant?
Every restaurant has a manager responsible for that, and maybe anywhere from 4 to 6. It depends how busy they are. Some of those restaurants are gigantic, and they do huge business all day long. So, but there's a general manager in each one of those restaurants responsible for that operation, and their payroll, and the bottom line, and customer service. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I asked that question because one of the favorite things, as you can tell, I never missed a meal. One of my favorite things is, of course, the different dining experiences that occur in the restaurants. And I have to say that every dining experience is unique and different. And whether you're at something quick to take it out, or whether you really want to sit down and enjoy a meal that's going to last a couple of hours, the service is exquisite and the experience is unique at every one of those restaurants. And so what allows a manager to create a unique experience within something that has the boss behind you, Mickey Mouse, as the hierarchical symbol, yet when I go to that restaurant, it's unique and different?
Yeah, I think in life, nobody cares about any leader in their organization except their own. Mm-hmm. So the waitresses didn't care about Lee Cockerell. They cared about their manager, who did their schedule, how he treated them, how he trained them, how she treated them. And I think at the end of the day, we give a lot of latitude to the managers to make decisions, to change the menu, to make sure they have the ability to do the training, selection, scheduling. They have a lot of latitude within those operations. Now, we have a budget, and they have to meet that, but they still have a lot of room to, if they think the menu needs to be changed or we're not doing something right, they know that that's their responsibility to bring that to the organization's attention and to get it changed. And then we have a lot of support people that support them in getting that changed as quick as we can.
It's twice now that you've mentioned something that I don't think people really do think about. I mean, most of us just want to go and have a good time, but I love to study the business when it comes to Disney. You mentioned the fact that managers have P&L responsibility. You mentioned the fact that they have the ability to do things at the restaurant within budget. So, I mean, this is a business. This idea of the Disney experience is a business, and it must really take a lot for someone to become a part of that business and perform well in it, as well as for the business to plan for success. So what goes into that a little bit as we kind of wrap up this part of the interview, and tell us what it takes for someone to be a manager in that environment?
Well, we get a good look at a lot of people. We have 65,000 people working there. About half of them have college degrees. They have ambition. They want to move up in the organization. We get a good look at them in their performance. Then we have a strong management training program. Then we start them out as assistant managers. And we're looking for people that really have the technical ability eventually through experience. They're good managers. They're disciplined. They're highly organized. They do what they say they're going to do. They do it on time. They keep their promises. And we're looking at people who have technological competency, and then last, leadership competency, that they run a business even if they're tough and they push hard, that people wake up in the morning and trust them and want to work for them.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of, we're looking for a well-rounded person, not just a technical person, because
Right.
sometimes you put a technical person in and they can't lead the people. And just because you can cook doesn't mean you can get the people to cook 1,000 dinners a night.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so I can pour a cup of coffee, but they have to pour, 10,000 cups. So that takes a lot of people, a lot of commitment, and a lot of people proud of what they do and wanting to do it.
It surely does. Lee, once again, in talking with you, we are out of time in our episode here. I want to put your latest book up on the screen again, The Customer Rules. And can we find this at major booksellers, Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble and those places?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I also read it, so if you want to listen to me, you can buy it that way too.
I respect an author that actually reads their book.
It's hard, by the way, very hard.
Yeah, what is that experience like? I'm a passionate Audible book listener. Is that
Let me
hard
tell
to do?
you, reading out loud, try it sometime. I mean, one guy told me when I was recording the first book, he said, "Lee, that's not how you pronounce that word." I said, "Well, that's how we pronounce it in Oklahoma." And he made me do it over and over until I got it right, and it's hard. And what I learned, you have to read slowly. They can speed it up. Your technicians can speed it up at the pace they want it to go.
Right.
So the second book I learned is do it. It took me half the time to read the second one.
Ah, that's amazing. That's sometime off camera, I'd love to talk a little bit more about that because I that's a big part of my learning is audiobooks and I do read. I read to my daughter who's 10, and I still read to her every night. So I do read out loud once in a while. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to read your new book to her because she and I pick a business book twice a year to read together. So we're going to do that. But Lee, unfortunately we're out of time. So Lee, if I'm watching this episode and I want to learn more about Lee Cockerell, where can I go?
Well, you can go to my website, and it's www.leecockerell.com. I post a lot of blogs on there. There's 500 posts about how to be a better leader, better manager, and improve customer service in your business. You can Google me. I'm out there, and it's all positive so far. And there's some videos. If you Google Lee Cockerell videos, you can even see some examples of some of my speaking.
Your speaking is absolutely fabulous. I'd urge everybody to go out and watch Lee speak to a live audience because he has a true gift, and not just because he's my guest today, because when you see a great speaker, you want to watch more and more of them. And Lee, you are truly a great speaker. You're a great author. You're a great blogger, and you didn't run too bad a theme park too during your career. So, well, Lee, I hope you can join us. There are more questions I have for you about your book, so please come back and join us again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lee. Well, folks, that wraps up another episode of Leader Be Led. We bring great guests to you like Lee Cockerell because we want to share with you the message of great leadership. And a guest like Lee makes it very, very easy. If you enjoyed what you saw today, please go ahead and share this episode by spreading the link around on your Facebook page or on Twitter. Tell people about us. Please comment on our website, comment on our YouTube page. My name is Al Gettler. I am your host, and we want you to come back again for another episode of Leader Be Led. Take care.